I don't really remember much of my past, which is why I like to keep everything in a journal so I can look back. I remember my husband Takashi, who was a good husband, far better than I deserved. I remember Yuko, whose short-lived life left a lasting impact on mine. I remember Mrs. Sakaki, who helped me rediscover myself. And of course, I remember the Shinagawa monkey. I was a woman who lived in Tokyo and worked at Honda for a living. My husband was Takashi Ando, who worked in a pharmaceutical company. Everything was as it should be for an ordinary Japanese woman, and I was as ordinary as one could get. But that was until I started forgetting my own name. I would often forget my name before. It came out of the blue, subtle but unexpected. I'd forget my name whenever somebody asked me what it was. Because of this, I resorted to checking my driver's license, Mizuki Ozawa Ando. At work, I would only use my maiden name, Ozawa. My husband fortunately didn't mind, yet it still didn't matter because I still can remember my name at all. I didn't forget anything else. My address, phone number, birthday, I knew them by heart. It was only my name I would have trouble remembering. I tried consulting a doctor in a hospital about this. Maybe forgetting my name was a symptom of a serious disease, but I was dismissed. The doctor told me that maybe it was a psychiatric case. Fortunately for me, I found an ad in the newspaper about a recently opened counseling center in Shinagawa. Determined to find out what was wrong with me, I went. There, I met Tetsuko Sakaki, the head counselor of the ward. I explained the situation to her, and she listened to me carefully. Then, she began to ask me basic questions about marriage, work, and health. Soon, she also asked me about my childhood and family. I lived a fairly ordinary childhood with an ordinary family. My father, quite serious, my mother, gentle, my older sister, on the other hand, an achiever. As for my marriage, Takashi was a good husband to me. Only then did I realize that I lived quite a dull life so far. Yet, Mrs. Sakaki listened to me intently. She then asked me to come back next time for another session, to which I eagerly agreed. During the next session, Mrs. Sakaki asked me about any experience of mine that had something to do with names. I then tell her about the time I was a student in a private girls' school in Yokohama. I lived in Nagoya at that time, and I took the Shinkansen train all the way to school. This gave me a sense of independence. I explained that there was a board at the entrance of my school building, where all the students hung their names there for attendance. There was a student from my school, Yuko Matsunaka, who many others looked up to. She was beautiful, smart, kind, and well off. We knew each other, yes, but we were never close friends. Which is why I was surprised when Yuko came to my room and asked me for advice. Yuko asked me if I had ever felt jealous, to which I replied no. She then continues about jealousy and how, like a tumor, it grows and grows bigger and there's nothing you can do to stop it. She then stops talking and tells me she has to go home to attend her relative's funeral and that she'll be back by Monday. But before she leaves, she hands me her name tag and tells me to keep it. She tells me that she doesn't want a monkey running off with it, and I laughed. I tell Mrs. Sakaki that Yuko never came back. The police found her body in the woods around a week later. She killed herself. I never told anyone about the name tag incident, and I've kept my silence ever since. I still had the name tag, though, in the back of my closet along with my name tag. I end the session saying that although I've never felt jealousy in my life, I understand how much torment and agony it can put a person through. When I got home that day, I pull out an old cardboard box that contains all my letters, diaries, photos, including the name tags. I haven't opened the box since the day I moved into the condo. To my confusion, neither of the name tags were to be found. 2 months later, Mrs. Sakaki and I have our 9th session together. She eagerly tells me that she's coming to a near conclusion as to why I struggle to remember my name. She's still working out all the details, but in a week, she's sure to come to a solution. The next week, Mrs. Sakaki greeted me with a big smile and even bigger news. First, she gives me both my name tag and Yuko's. Second, she tells me that her husband, the chief of the Public Works Department, has found the culprit who stole the name tags. Awestruck, I follow her out of her office and into another room deep in the building. Yoshio Sakaki, Mrs. Sakaki's husband, and his colleague Mr. Sakurada greet us at the door. They tell us that they've been watching the culprit all morning, and apparently he hasn't been causing any trouble. Soon enough, they lead me to him. There, smack in the middle of the small room, sat a monkey. A talking monkey, in fact. I seemed like I was the only one who was surprised that it could talk. The monkey then confesses to stealing the name tags from my apartment. That's what he does, actually. Once he sees a name that catches his interest, he just has to have it. The monkey then continues to explain a story. He was in love with Yuko, and he figured that if he had at least had her name, he would be content. So when she committed suicide, he searched all over for her name tag. And sometime around last year, he figured that maybe Yuko's name tag was with me. He managed to have tracked me down. And then I asked him why he had to steal my name tag as well, to which he apologizes. He ended up taking a liking to my name, so he stole my name tag along with Yuko's. The monkey apologizes profusely, saying that although he may have done wrong, there's something good that came out of his actions as well. He says that when he took my name, he took both the good and the bad things that came along with it. I then asked what bad things may have come with my name, and the monkey was hesitant to tell me since it could have hurt me. I tell him though that I really want to know. Then, the monkey resigns. He tells me that my family never truly loved me. My mother sent me to school in Yokohama because she wanted me as far away from her as possible. My father never had the courage to stand up for me. Yet, I always turned a blind eye towards their behavior, and I shut myself away from it. Because of this blatant indifference, I've never been able to show true passion and love for anyone else. I don't even truly love my husband, even if we were to have a child. Still, nothing. I felt the world crumbling down on me, yet I knew deep in my heart that everything the monkey told me was true. I tell Mr. and Mrs. Sakaki to forgive the monkey and to let him go instead of killing him. I then give the monkey Yuko's name tag, and I tell him to never bother me anymore. After I bid the monkey goodbye, I thank Mrs. Sakaki for all her help, and then I head home. I sealed my name tag in an envelope and placed the envelope in my closet. I wasn't sure of anything as of that moment. All that I knew is that I had my name back, a name that was mine alone.